Hello. You can tell me this isn't the greatest shirt you've ever seen, but you will be lying. I got this at the op shop. I'm so excited. Look at it. It's got pineapples and parrots and plumeria. It's fabulous. And it's so pink, and I'm on quite a slope, but it's fine. It's all right. I'm a professional. Now, to get to the point of Work in Progress Wednesday, but you please feel free to continue to admire this shirt that I'm never going to take off. The purple and green one from last week that I was going to have wet finished to show you this week, I didn't do that at all. It's been a busy brain week. Nothing bad's happening, nothing terrible, just a lot in here and not a lot of space, as I said last week. So I had it on the table, ready to do. I've trimmed the fringe, and then I was going to twist the fringe and wet finish it, and I simply did not. So next week, perhaps, I will show you that. I've got this one to wet finish as well. This one came off the loom yesterday, and this is the... heirloom. Yes, the yarn is heirloom, the cross stitch is heritage. It's too confusing. These are both heirloom yarns. So the white is heirloom alpaca 8-ply, and the pinky purpley is heirloom... Oh, fabulous question. I did just remind myself what it is. It's Merino Magic. There we go. So that's merino, but it's their sort of sparkly colourway merino, I suppose. I'm showing that quite badly. So it's got a long colour shift in through the pinks and the purples, and this obviously needs to be wet finished, because if I haven't wet finished the purple and green from last week, I will not have wet finished this, which came off the loom yesterday. Still have to trim the fringes and twist them. I'm not expecting a huge difference in shrinkage or bloom on these. In my experience, which is not extensive, but you know, I've got a little bit, alpaca and wool tend to behave the same way. This is merino, but it behaves like wool because it is wool. It's just merino wool. Am I being helpful? I don't know. So I'm not expecting any weird textures or anything like that to happen. It might. I don't know. We'll find out. I didn't sample. Never do. So that is to go into the wet finish situation. No, the wet finish... This needs to be wet finished, is what I'm saying there. So I'll do that for next week, maybe. Now, I do have something new on the little loom. It went on yesterday, so it is fresh on the loom, but I don't think you're going to be able to see my hem stitching. Hang on while I get that. Just 1 second. No, you can't see the hem stitching, so we're actually quite advanced. So let me just wrangle that. So this is from the stash. Both of the yarns are from the stash. This is Bendigo Woollen Mills Prism, and it's definitely in one of the colourways. I think it's Mystic. I will double check and put it in the description. I think this is their Mystic colourway. And this one on the shuttle is from the depths of the stash. This is actually from my aunt's stash, and it is Lincraft Big Wool. Now, I don't know when this is from. I should have looked it up. I don't think it's current. It's carefully dyed under supervision. I don't know whose supervision, but somebody was keeping an eye on them. So I had a couple of those, and I thought, well, let's do some textured weaving. I wasn't sure if this blue was going to work as the warp, and I spent a long time staring at the yarn and some other yarn that I was thinking about putting on the loom. And then eventually I really did just think, stuff it, we'll see what happens, because that's generally how I warp up anything. So the skipped dent, which you can see there, you can see maybe those thicker textures where the yarn's allowed to sort of puff out a little bit and not be trapped. I've got chickens arriving. So there's a skipped dent there. You can see that gap there and that gap there. And that's just literally skipped dent. You just don't thread those holes and slots. That was not planned. I'd started to warp up, and I thought, you know what, with this textured yarn, because it's thick and thin, it would be interesting to have a little gap where those textures can be thick and thin. Thick and thin. I think I said that right. So I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't had a ton of success with skipped dent lately, but we persevere. And I think it's going to come out quite interesting, if not amazing. I haven't sampled it, but we'll find out. I think the blue is working. Hello, Millicent. I think the blue is working. I wasn't sure, but I think it is working. Tonally, it's a little bit different to the blue in the weft yarn, but tonally it's not far off the pink. So I think it's going to be okay. Now, last but not least for this week, I don't have any more bags to show you. Busy brain week. Hello, I know. Yes, I've got your vegetables ready, but you have to wait. Now, last but not least is the cross stitch, which is in here. Don't eat my knees. Don't eat my knees. So, the cross stitch. The last time I showed it to you, it looked like this. And to be fair to myself, because it's not going as quickly as it could really, I am only doing sort of an hour and a half a night on this, but this is how it's currently looking. So I'm filling in, I have been concentrating on the bottom. Can I hold that up with one hand? Millicent, can you point to the, no, she can't. She's simply not going to. So I've been working on the bottom predominantly, of filling in the birds a little bit. This little white gap I need to fill in, but this is two blended strands. It's two different colours blended together. And I was sort of waiting to see how much thread I actually had before I committed to doing just that little bit. So I think I will move on to the top for a while and fill up the rest of that feather. And yeah, it's coming along. It's not far off. I do have a question for you though. If you cross stitch, because I've seen some suggested posts about cross stitch on Facebook, and there are some people who, when they finish a section, they will do the back stitch, and other people who will wait until they've done all of the crosses before they do the back stitch. There's no right or wrong way. I'm not going to judge you, whatever you say. But if you do cross stitch, I'm curious which way you do it. So if people who do it in bits, so once they'd finished all of the stitches in that bird, they would then back stitch that bird even though they haven't finished the rest of the crosses. I finish all the crosses and then do the back stitch. But it's personal preference, and I'm curious about it because I'm nosy and I like to know stuff. That is all I have for you this week. The chickens are off, so I'm going to go and feed them. You take care of yourself, have a lovely rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.